Hello and welcome to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Colon, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, student of astrology, master of numerology, the creator of the chakra balance numerology cosmic energy forecast deck, a mother, a wife. And as I said in every day of 2020, I say it in 2021, I'm here to help you see the best version of you. So how you all doing today on this amazing Sunday? For a minute there, I sounded a little, I don't even know. I don't know where that, whatever was came from. But anyway, how you all doing today? On February 28th, 2021, it is the last Sunday of the month, and it's also the last day of the month. February is a very short month, especially this year because it's only 28 days in February. Those who are actually born on the 29th day, I was kind of curious. What day do you actually celebrate your birthday? Do you celebrate it on the 28th? Or do you wait and celebrate it on the 1st? Kind of curious. So those of you who do celebrate a February 29th birthday, I'd be interested to know which of the 2 days you celebrate. Or for that matter, do you celebrate your birthday on both days? Why not? It's your birthday. And it's a special day because you were born. And as I always say, every one of us are here on this earth because we all have authentic reasons for being here. We're all very special, very different, and we all have a purpose. And with all that being said, I like to just shout out to all of you celebrating a birthday, whether you celebrated a February birthday or you're going to be celebrating a March birthday like me. So before we dive into everything else for today, let me just give a shout out and also remind you to share, like, comment on today's show. Reason why, since 2021 has come in, I am doing something very special. Every episode, there is a free raffle that you get to participate in and possibly get a chance of winning, assuming you're in it to win it. If you don't play, you can't win. So there's many opportunities of winning. How so? You share, your name goes in the bucket. You like and comment, your name goes in the bucket. And you're here live with me, your name goes in the bucket. That's 3 chances that you get to winning the raffle. Now, if you're actually watching this on the replay or Amazon Roku or Amazon Fire TV, Roku, or YouTube, that means you're watching on the replay. But then come back here and like it and comment, and you too also get a chance to be in the raffle as well. And with that being said, just want to make a notation here. Did you miss last week's episode? Because if you did, I had an amazing guest on my show last week. We spoke about the real masculine energy, and that was with Todd Bradbury. So if you did not get a chance to watch last week's show, go ahead and watch it later today after this episode. You can catch us again, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, or even YouTube. And I believe there's a flyer that has his information on it should you wish to reach out to him. Now, let's dive into giving a shout out to all of my advertising sponsors, as there's a list, which I'm really grateful for. I'm so happy to know, excuse me, that there's so many of you who wish to advertise on this show and get your story shared so people can see you. Let's start off with our advertising sponsors, such as Kendrick Greer, who's our fabulous, amazing astrologer. Then we have Tammy Moses, who's our Chief Encouragement Officer. Linda Boney is our Feng Shui specialist. Might be a really good time to connect with her. Eliza Bloom Robinson, who's our transformational catalyst. She will actually help you transform. Then Dr. Robert Garcia, the warrior strategist. And as mentioned, we have Todd Bradbury, who is the founder of the Mystic Warrior Academy, and our newest advertising sponsor, who's also our guest for today, Nicole Black. She is our author and entrepreneur. So now that I have all of our sponsors on the side, I also want to give a big shout out to Bobby, who makes the show happen behind the scenes. He keeps it all going. So thank you, Bobby. And just trying to remember if there's other things I need to mention before we dive into some cosmic energy. I do want to make one notation in regards to an event that's taking place here at my studio, a live event, on-site event for those of you who are itching to get out. You will need to wear a mask though. Um, Her story, Waist Beads, which is the founder, Irene Rodriguez. She's going to be sharing some insight about those waist beads, and also each and every one of you will receive a waist bead, but you do have to reserve a spot very early. The event's taking place on March 26th. I do believe the deadline to reserve your seats is March 4th. There's a flyer with her information. Please reach out to her. You don't want to miss this event. I promise you, you don't want to miss it. All right. So with that being said, let's dive into some of the energy for today. Now we have this, I don't know why the word vicious just popped into my head, but we have this vicious full moon, and it's really not vicious. It's a loving full moon, as all full moons are. This full moon is in Virgo energy, and a lot of your astrologers are citing it as the Virgo Pisces full moon. Reason why, because it is really at the end of February, so it's in Pisces energy, and it's Pisces season. Now, what makes this full moon so vicious, so to speak, is because there is a conjunction between Venus energy and Pisces right now. And not to really get all into it, but those of you I'm hoping know that Venus is our planet of relationship, love, and money. Pisces is our astrological sign of the dreamy, the love, the endings, and the intuition. And when we think about Virgo, because that's where the moon is, the Virgo's energy is all about organizing, getting things in order, getting a routine, reevaluating your dietary habits, which doesn't surprise me. I'd want to say that because if you look behind me, where am I? I'm in a gym. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a holistic certified personal trainer. So I'm all about helping you get organized with your dietary habits, getting an exercise routine going. This is the time to do this. The full moon energy is really about letting old habits go, letting old patterns and beliefs and how we've been programmed. It's time to switch that up and throw it away and start on these new regimens, so to speak. And if you need any help with that, feel free to reach out to me. And you can do that by emailing me, healingwithin76@gmail.com. I'm going to say that a little slower so you can actually catch it. Healingwithin76@gmail.com. And those of you who do live locally, you're welcome to call me. Actually, text me at 646-236-9155. With all that being said about the full moon, I like to shake up the cards here and see what we need to know for this full moon's energy. What one chakra can you work on today to help you release anything that might be blocking you from moving into these new habits? What one affirmation can you use? And one of my favorite parts about my cards, what number is going to provide a hidden message? So let's see what we got going. It's almost like I want to say drum roll, please. But no drum roll. Just shuffle. Just shuffle. Let's see what the cards have. My hands are a little sticky today. Oh, 2 cards came out, but we don't have time for 2 cards. Let's do 1. All right. Card that's showing up right now and is so appropriate for this amazing energy that we are in between, again, the Virgo Pisces full moon season right now. It's about forgiveness. Forgiveness. When we think about Virgo energy, it's really about embodying within ourselves. The Pisces energy is that spiritual energy. So bringing the spiritual and embodying the space of forgiveness. Those of you who are Pisces like myself, we are very forgiving. We forgive on the drop of a hat. You don't have to say much to us for us to forgive you. We do. However, depending on what it is and how often you've done it, we may not forgive so easily. But that's the word for the day, forgiveness. So what can you work on with this full moon to release so you can get into a space of forgiveness? Because understanding that forgiveness is the highest vibration to healing. When you step into forgiveness, you are literally stepping into your intuition, your psychic abilities, and you're stepping out of the ego. So let's all try working on forgiving. Whatever the situation was that caused you to be angry or frustrated or annoyed with somebody, how about we work on letting that go and move into a softer heart? Talking about heart, the chakra we're going to be working on today is the crown, which again, that concept of connecting between your internal wisdom, your intuitiveness, your psychic abilities, and balancing it out with the ego. So it's not all going to be about your ego. Your number is 99. Now, when we think about 99, 99 is what I like to call an angel number. So this number is coming from a higher source. This is about letting things go, a transition, a transformation, a completion, which is 9 9 is an 18, which brings to a 9. And when we really think about this Pisces energy, it's the 12th house energy, which means endings. When we move into Aries energy, that's the first house energy, which means beginnings. So wouldn't it be a really great time to use this Pisces season to let go of anything that's causing your heart to feel heavy? Move out of your ego, move into the internal wisdom, and allow both of them to embrace and embody this amazing energy of love. I think that's a powerful statement. What do you all think? Let me know. Put your comments in, share, like, and comment. I love to read those comments and I do respond back. So I will be looking for them later. So I would really love to know how that card resonated with you and if you are really ready to utilize this amazing Virgo full moon to work on releasing whatever causes your heart to feel heavy so you can get into a space of forgiveness. So with all that being said, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. I give you permission to go to the bathroom, get some water, then come right back, as I will. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Rob the Warrior Strategist coming at you from San Diego, California. And if you want help developing your own income streams and entrepreneurial systems, feel free to reach out to me at dragonsgold76@gmail.com. Thanks.
Hello everyone, my name is Linda Boney. I'm a Feng Shui consultant and speaker. I'm the owner of Feng Shui Inspirations. Get inspired, move forward. I assist my clients in setting their space up for success, creating better health, wealth, and relationships. www.fengshuiinspirations.com 347-223-0532. Thank you and blessings.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest here that I'm going to introduce in 1 second. But I want to hold off on the introduction because I do want to point out something. I don't know about your clock right now, but my clock says it's about 3:12, which is actually a very appropriate time and conversation for today's piece based on the author's title to her book. 3:12 is the time frame that my mom crossed over, the day that she had crossed over. So I find it very interesting to know that she is with us right now. Needed to put that out there for everybody to know that we are being guided and supported by her in this very moment. So thank you, Mom. Anyway, with all that being said, again, for all who are just coming in and tuning in, remember to share, like, and comment, as you're all going to get an opportunity to win a raffle prize today. And we'll announce that later in reference to what the raffle is. And I'll be announcing the raffle winner from last week's show at the end of today's show. So with that being said, I'd love to introduce Nicole Black. She is the author of, I have it written, don't tell me, I Can Still Hear You. And she's also an entrepreneur as well. So I'm really excited to have you here, Nicole. How are you?
I'm great, Joanne. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm really excited to have you here. And even more, it's like the title of your book has me like it feels like a mystery. Like, I mean, the title pretty much says something, but it's like a mystery. And I can so relate to that title based on my introduction of the 3:12. So to start off with, before we dive into the actual author portion of it all, a part of your title is that you're an entrepreneur. So what are you an entrepreneur in?
Well, the first business venture that I had was I opened up a bakery here in Santa Barbara, California. And everybody told me, well, the day before we opened, they said, "Did you know that restaurants have the #1 failure rate?" And I said, "Oh, I didn't know." I said, "Well, I should probably open more than one then." So hedged my bets.
There you
And so my ex-husband and I owned about 6 at one time. And then after we got divorced, I let him have the bakeries because I wanted to write. And I also wanted to start my candle company, which I do have running. And that is actually what I think our giveaway is, from my part of the show today, is one of the candles off of my website. And so that is kind of what I do. I'm also working on my master's degree in elementary education, overachiever much, and I'm hoping to go back into the classroom and be a teacher.
Excellent. Well, that sounds like you have a full plate, and it sounds really exciting. So now we dive into the author. Now, my big question, because I didn't never ask you this question when we actually spoke on our very first conversation. Is this the very first book you've written, or you have others?
No, I have another book that I've written, but that was a self-help book. This is my first fiction book.
Okay.
And I've been like in compilation books. I've been in about 5 compilation books, I think, 4 or 5.
Awesome, awesome. But this is like your first really, let's dig into it and let's put it out there.
This, my first book that was a self-help book was, I kind of feel like I used it to get my feet wet, to learn everything I needed to know about publishing. And also kind of to put myself out there and see if public speaking was what I really wanted to do, which it turned out it really wasn't what I really wanted to do. But you don't know until you try.
Exactly,
So,
exactly, exactly. It's part of the journey. It's one of those things that, you know, what I'm hearing is almost like, let's follow the leader of what others have done and then see if it's the best fit for you. You know, and then you check it off and say, okay, I've done that. Doesn't feel so great. So let's try something else.
Well, the other part about writing a book, which nobody ever tells you, is that, you know, you spend sometimes years. This book, I can still hear you, took me 6.5 years, I think, to get out and to be published. Is you'll spend years working on a book, and then you release it, you got to spend more years marketing your book. Like the rest of your life is spent like, hey, did you know that I wrote a book and this is what it's about? Oh, you're dealing with this. This book might help you. So while this book is fiction, it is actually kind of helpful for grief and loss. My other one was more about kind of learning like what triggers you. It's called Fat Shame: How to Ditch the Shame, Get Confident, and live the life you deserve.
Oh, that
So
sounds like a nice title too.
it's a great book. And it has definitely helped people, women specifically, to kind of get in touch with what is the story that was below the story that made you start eating in the first place.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's just not something that I'm super passionate about. And so I learned that that is not what I wanted to do. Was to be promoting that and to like be talking to weight loss groups, because it didn't feel like something that was going to really resonate with my soul. But the book
Makes
that I
sense.
just finished that I published, just finished and published, that one is one that I feel like my dad, you know, you were talking about your mom. I feel like my dad came through me and wrote the book with me. Um, for a lot of reasons. One, there's no swear words in my book, and I swear, and so I'm honest.
Yes, yes, it's okay, sure.
So that was one of the reasons why. And then just little signs that he would give me, like as I was writing and moving along, or I'd put the book away for 6 months, you know, because sometimes you have to put something on the back burner for a few months to figure out, you know, why do I have writer's block? Which I can tell you why people get writer's block. So
Sure, tell them, because there's probably a lot of people out there with the idea of like, well, do I want to write a book? Or maybe I started, let's say, so many chapters in, and then all of a sudden it's like, nothing's coming to the paper. So why do people get writer's block?
they get writer's block is not a real thing. The reason why you get writer's block is because you don't know where your story is going. You don't know specifically, you don't know your ending. And in order to write a story, the first thing that you have to know is not where it starts. You have to know where it ends. Usually the beginning and the ending, they're kind of one and the same thing, right? So something ends and then we have a new story. But if you don't know where your story ends, where you want your characters to go in their arc, then put your pen down, meditate, and figure it out. So I don't think that writer's block is a real thing. I think that anytime I say, oh my gosh, I have writer's block, I look at myself and say, oh, because I don't know my ending.
Yes, yes. And for me, it's so interesting because when I write books, the most important thing for me is to get the actual table of contents going. Like what I like each chapter to be a focus on. And when I can get that going, that sort of helps me and molds me through. So writer's block for me, again, as you, I don't believe there is writer's block. And it is really important to know the beginning and the ending. Where do you want it to go? And then from there, sort of fill in the blanks. And for that matter, as you did with your dad, I'm sure, you can always, those in our audience, if they have someone in some loved one that is crossed over, hey, do what I do. I call on my mom all the time and say, Mom, I need your help. Can you help me write my next chapter? Not only does she help me write my next chapter, but sometimes she writes it for me.
Yeah, so you totally understand what I was talking about when I said that there were many times that I felt like my dad was writing this book through me and with me.
Exactly,
Even,
exactly.
even the title was different. And I knew it was the wrong title, but I loved the title. And it's a great title, but it's just not appropriate for this book. And I
How
kept saying,
so? How so? Because now you got my curiosity up. I thought the title was awesome. Like, wait a minute, why is that
oh
not the
no, this title is awesome. But the original title was The Spiral Staircase. And
Oh,
then
okay.
with a subtitle of The Path Isn't Always a Straight Line. And the thing is with fiction books, usually you don't have a subtitle. Usually it's just a title. And I kind of thought, oh, okay, fine, I'll just call it The Spiral Staircase. And then I was like, okay, but nobody's going to know what that means. It's what it means is like in the Fibonacci sequence, everything is a repeating pattern. And so you just have to figure out where the patterns are. But unfortunately, most people aren't going to get that just from the title of The Spiral Staircase. And as cool as it was to have a picture of a beautiful spiral staircase, I just thought, you know what, that's not really going to tell people what this is, which is it's an adventure story where a father guides his daughter on what is a virtuous life, and how to lead it and how to get started. And it's after he's passed away that he kind of sends his daughter on this like wild goose chase, if you will, hero's journey. And she has, along the way, she has a little bit of help. She finds a treasure map and she has her father's best friend who's been estranged from her father, and he's helpful but not helpful. And she can't figure out why until the end. And then she also
Interesting.
has her own personal journey where she has a relationship with a man who doesn't treat her well.
Oh,
And
wow.
she ends up ending that relationship, and I'll leave the rest to the reader's imagination. But um, she does like kind of find herself, and she makes a giant arc. So her name's Scarlet, and she makes a huge arc on her journey.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. I love it. I love it. There is one question I have before we actually take a commercial break. And
sure.
that question is, and it's been one of those questions that I've been sort of like dwelling in my head, and I was going to send you a message and ask you, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ask her on the show. With the ability of obviously you can hear your dad. At what point did you recognize that you had the ability to hearing spirits? And is your dad the only one? I guess it's two questions. And is your dad the only one that you actually do hear from spirits?
My mom passed away a little over 20 years ago. And that was when I first started to, it was actually about a year before she passed away. And I got this divine message that I needed to go back to. I was living in Hawaii. I was living in Maui, which is where this book is set. And I got a message from the ethers saying, you need to go back home. Your mom is very sick. And so I packed up, I moved away from Hawaii, and I get home and I look at my mom and she looks happy, peaceful, wonderful. And I'm thinking, okay, well, whatever. And 13 months later, she passed away.
Oh,
But those 13 months of our relationship, we got so close, and we were super strong. And she really became, one of my best friends. And it wasn't a long time. I wish I had appreciated her more sooner,
yes, yeah,
but I didn't. And
yeah.
so she was the first one that I heard. And I don't know if we need to cut to break and then we can.
Yeah, we do. And I also want, before we do go to that break, it goes really well, the relationship that you had with your mom the last 13 months of her life with the forgiveness card that showed up today. So I wanted to bring that in. But before we do take that break, let the viewers know how they can reach you.
Oh, they can reach me, Nicole at NicoleBlack.com. That's my email address. They can go to my website, www.nicoleblack.com. They can reach me through that as well.
Awesome. All right, guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break. And again, get the water, go to the bathroom, come back. We'll be right back.
Hi guys, I'm Kendrick Cortez Greer, personal astrologer and astrological counselor here in Brooklyn, New York. I've been an astrologer for over 23 years now, providing astrological readings, counseling sessions, workshops, and corporate events all throughout the tri-state area. I've been very blessed and lucky to have clients all throughout the United States and beyond. If you're interested in a reading that is warm, heartfelt, honest, and conducive to speaking to one of your best friends, please contact me at 917-863-7528. You can also email me at kendrickstar@gmail.com. That's Kendrick, STAR, @gmail.com. And for you Insta people, find me on Instagram at Kendrick Cortez Astrology. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Toodles.
Hi everyone, I'm Natan Bredbury. I'm a veteran, Kabbalist, mystic, coach, and spiritual mentor. I have been blessed to help many students on their spiritual journey over the last 20 years. I am currently the founder of the Mystic Warrior Academy, and what we're doing is we're helping veterans heal from the inside out, overcome any sort of emotional trauma that they've been through. So if you're a veteran, a therapist, or a coach, and are interested in learning more about our program, you can contact us directly at info@mysticwarrioracademy.com. Blessings.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest, who is the author of I Can Still Hear You, Nicole Black. She's also an entrepreneur as well. She's got a lot of stuff on her plate, and we were just having an amazing conversation during the commercial break. You'd be surprised on what we talk about during the commercial break, on how Nicole was sharing with me on how she hears many, many spirits, and as I do too. And for those of you, again, out there, our viewers, to, again, remember, share, like, and comment, as I'm just hearing, share, like, and comment. But those of you out there who have loved ones that have crossed over, my question to you is, have you connected with your loved ones through spirit and communication? So with that being said, Nicole, for you, we spoke about your mom, the relationship that you had with your mom after she had passed on, and she was your first, I guess, connection to spirit?
She was the first one that I recognized as what it was.
Oh, okay. Yes,
that's it. There were moments that I was going crazy when I would know things that were going to happen, and then all of a sudden they would happen. I don't know how I knew that it was going to happen, but she was the first one that I was able to go, oh, now I get it.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was your first experience with your dad when he had crossed over, that you were able to hear him?
And you know, it's funny because my dad and I were incredibly close. And so he waited for me to leave the hospital before he crossed over. And the very first experience that happened, it was actually kind of a cool thing that happened. I was driving to my nephew's birthday party, and I really didn't want to go. And everybody had been like, you need to leave the hospital. You've been in there for 72 hours without any fresh air. You need to at least go home and take a shower.
Yes.
So I'm driving my little car down the 101 freeway and heading to LA. And when my mom had passed away, I had said, please send me a sign that I know when you're near. And a white butterfly appeared. And then from then on, like anytime I needed my mom, or even when I didn't know I needed my mom, white butterflies would just show up. And so I'm going 65 miles an hour down the freeway, and I see a white butterfly hover in front of my car and then go over the roof of my car. And I turned around in that split second. I felt like my entire chest cavity fill up with this just like loving emotion. And I was like, oh my God, my mom's going for my dad. And I
Oh.
knew the exact instant that his body had crossed over.
Mm.
So right when that happened, I cried for probably about 48 hours. And then I was sitting here in my living room, and I'm looking out the back window because I'm, thinking like my dad will send me a sign, right? He'll come back as something. And I see this humongous, like the biggest one I've ever seen in my entire life, monarch butterfly in my backyard.
Oh
And
wow.
I'm like, my dad's back there. And my ex-husband looks at me like, excuse me. He turns around and he sees the giant butterfly and he says, oh, wow. He had never seen one that big either. And,
Mm-hmm.
and now, like, sometimes the white ones will come, sometimes the monarchs will come, but they both always show up for me. Both of my parents do.
Nice. That
Especially when I'm
is,
not
yeah.
listening to, like when they're trying to be like, stop, like they will literally put a physical stop sign in my way, or signs on the freeway that say slow down. And then when I'm not listening,
Oh
they'll
yes.
they'll get in my face and make sure that I actually stop or slow down.
Oh yes, yes. Well, that's the beauty about spirit, our loved ones, where when they want your attention, they know how to get your attention to get you to the point where like, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this and not that. So yeah. So
Exactly.
exactly, exactly. So in regards to now again, because I haven't read the book, so a question that's gonna
Yes.
seem weird for me, but the events that took place in your book, how many of them actually really happened?
Almost all of them happened in one way or another.
Okay. And could you share with
Even
us?
from the father giving signs. Um, so I wrote it based on the cardinal virtues, the four cardinal virtues: temperance, prudence, fortitude, and justice. And so
Hmm.
in each of those, but I don't actually ever use like, and then he taught her temperance by doing this. Um, it will be like, she'll come across a dog, and the dog's name is 40, and she like looks at the owner, and the owner says, yeah, it's short for fortitude. It was one of the only ones besides that and justice that I actually put what the cardinal virtue was. And so then the dog walks away, and she realizes that that's like courage. And she thinks back to a time, or she like flashes back to a time when her dad has told her how courageous that she's been. So it's kind of like a series of like flashbacks that'll happen, but it's always things that like, where her dad is like saying to her, like, yes, I can't give you all the answers. You have to figure this stuff out on your own. But it's funny because one of my friends called it Dad Wisdom 101, and there's like 60 or 70 quotes in the book that are going to be on my memes that are kind of that dad wisdom where it would just like show up, and then all of a sudden I'd think, oh, that'll work in my book.
Yeah,
So almost everything
exactly.
in the book did actually happen.
Nice. Now, what inspired you to write this book?
So my actual inspiration, I had the day that my dad died, I knew that I wanted to write a book about a father and his daughter, and how he kind of, because he guided me through life. He was my best friend, and he completely like, would he would never say like, that's a bad decision. He'd sometimes say like, thank you, I can drive the rest of the trip now. I would tell him something that he didn't, that didn't really resonate with him, but he never chided me, never put me down, never ever said that I didn't make a good decision. Sometimes I could tell when I had made a bad decision just by the look on his face, but there was never any like guilt or like anything like that. And so that was kind of what I wanted to shine through. And first I was going to start it where she had a brother, because I actually have a brother. And my brother doesn't communicate with spirit. He doesn't believe in any of that. And which is fine, because we can't all like the same things.
Mm-hmm.
But so right then, like right after he passed away, I knew that it was going to start. And I first started writing it in Mexico about a month after he passed away. And then I shelved it because I was like, no, I don't want her to be in Mexico. I'd rather have her be in Maui, because Maui has a really special connection for my family and for me and my dad. And I thought, so there were little things that were kind of like coming to me piece by piece. And then the big like piece de resistance that showed up was the Thomas Fire started here in Southern California, and it was December of 2017. And I was up at one of my best friend's house like early January. This is right before the mudslides came, after we had this giant fire, where literally I was completely cut off from Santa Barbara. So I was like, okay, Dad, I get it. I'm supposed to sit here and write.
There you go.
I can't drive, so now I have to write. But I was up in Ojai, like right before I think the mudslide happened. And one of my best friends, I was like, oh gosh, I'm so cold. And she's like, oh, here, take this coat. And I was like, oh, thank you. And she's like, you can keep it. And it just felt like this magic jacket. And I was like, oh, it's missing some buttons. I'm like, you know what? I have a box of buttons in my house somewhere. I'll go find it. I find the box of buttons. I open it up, and there's a letter from my dad, completely opened.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, no, I know I've opened this letter before. Like, and I went and I found the open copy, and I was like, oh my gosh, how did this one show up in this box out of nowhere? And so I opened the letter thinking, oh no, it's going to be something different. And it was not different at all. It was verbatim, exactly the same. He had just had a couple of copies, I guess, to make sure that I got the letter.
Yes, and also to make sure that you received it at a different time too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then I was sitting there and I reread the letter again, and I was like, oh my God, I know how the story is supposed to unfold now. And so it's really my friend Jamie that I'm so grateful to for that jacket, and for me thinking that I was going to find a button. Nowhere in this box was there a button even remotely close to what this jacket's buttons looked like.
But you found something so much more magical.
Exactly. I got the letter. So
exactly. So again, I mean, when we think about, writing books and books, especially relating to loved ones, I mean, the energy that comes across with that and the insight that they provide for us, like, your dad, literally, not that it was your dad that, that created all the obstacles in your path for you, so you can be isolated to write the book. But the fact of that, it's like, okay, you're finally got the message. We're like, yeah, there was nothing else to do. So I mean, if we think back to like 2020, how many amazing books can you imagine were written in 2020 from everybody who literally sat home and had nothing else to do? It's like, well, this is a really great time. It's like the universe said, those of you who have a book in you, this is a really great time to start writing it, and bring that book to alive. Because again, I truly believe that we all have at least one book in us, if not more than one. As you have two of your own, and then you have a few contributing books, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So we all have that in us. Now, in regards to your story of the book, like, what is the one big takeaway that you would like your readers to actually take away from after reading your book?
I think that I'd like people to know that, our loved ones, I always think like, my parents, they're just in the next room. And I literally believe that they're, that their spirits are, that we're, like we're spirits and bodies, right? Not the other way around. And I firmly believe that they are still here guiding me when I need it and not when I don't. They're not guiding my brother at all. I'm kidding. My brother's very well put together. He doesn't need a lot of help.
Yeah, I actually think they're guiding us all the time. Even the ones who don't think they need the help, those are the ones they're like really looking over us. Just that unfortunately, because like with your brother, who may not be connected in that way, I'm sure
Right.
he gets a lot of guidance that he's not even aware that he's getting, and that takes him to where he has to go. And sometime maybe in the back of his mind, he might sit back and say, did that have anything to do with mom or dad? But won't admit to it to you, because then that would mean he has to admit that he somewhat is open to this.
Exactly, which is probably not going to happen. But like, I don't know, maybe a month ago, he called me like right at the right moment where I was like, oh, wow, like, how did you know that I needed to talk to you right this second? Like, I needed that phone call more than anything. And I thought, that's interesting. But I don't talk about that with him because I know that that's not his thing.
It's not his
So
thing
my
yet.
big takeaway, I think, that I want people to understand is that, our loved ones are really, even when they're gone, it's an easier way to think about it is if they were in pain, now their body's not in pain anymore. And they're closer than we think.
Exactly.
We can always connect in with our loved ones, our deceased loved ones, if we need to.
Yes. And I also believe too, as they do cross over, especially for those who may not have the best relationship with a loved one in the flesh, when they do cross over, the relationship will get better because there's no ego involved. So whatever it was that they were dealing with in the flesh form, it's no longer in existence. So that relationship can be so much more sweeter, more loving, and more forgiving for that matter.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, so I think that's really important. And again, we need to take another commercial break, but before we do, let our viewers know how they can reach you.
You can reach me by email, nicole@nicoleblack.com, or go to my website, www.nicoleblack.com.
Awesome. So viewers, we're going to take a quick commercial break, so get that water, go to the bathroom if you need to, and come right back as we will. We'll be right back. Did you know that astrology and numerology influences your metabolism and weight? Hello, I'm Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, student of astrology, master of numerology, and the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast Stack. And I help women and men by referral release issues from their tissues while releasing emotional weight and falling in love with themselves. As I witness the transformation of watching each client become the best version of who they are. To redeem your first discovery session at 10% off, email healingwithin76@gmail.com. I do look forward to helping you release your issues from your tissues and falling in love with yourself.
Are you ready for that breakthrough? If so, I can help. I'm Reverend Eliza Bloom Robinson, Transformation Catalyst, and I support people just like you to move through into breakthrough, finding the place of empowerment and clarity about who you be and what you do. I'm offering a complimentary consultation session. Just simply email me at newhumanitynow@gmail.com, and I look forward to chatting with you.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. I have my amazing guest, who's an author and entrepreneur, the author of I Can Still Hear You. Isn't that a great book and book cover? I love it. This is Nicole Black. For those of you who are just tuning in, you still have an opportunity, a chance to get into the raffle, but you do need to share, like, comment. That's 4 times your name gets in the bucket. With that being said, Nicole, just let the viewers know, especially for those who are just tuning in, what is the raffle offering that you're giving?
So one of the other things that I've done in my life is I created a candle company, and each one of the candles comes with a mantra, and it comes with 2 crystals, and there's guided meditations free for everybody actually on YouTube that go with the candles and with the crystals. And so if somebody's looking for transformation, they would get, the Moonlight Reflections candle. They're looking for peace, inner peace. They would get the Hawaiian Sunset candle, which has amethyst stones. So that's what the raffle's for. There's 11 different candles and stone combinations on my website. And so they can pick any one they want, and it'll come straight to them, including the travel pack. If they want the travel pack, they can pick that as well.
Excellent, excellent. So that's a fun raffle winning. So again, in order to take advantage of it, you have to be in it to win it. So share, like, and comment now, please. Do that, do that, do that. With that being said, I'd like to announce our raffle winner from last week's show, which is, drum roll, Patricia Johnson. She's going to be receiving a 15-minute consultation with Todd Bradbury, who does tongue twister manipulation, which is basically an energy shifting for you. So again, Patricia Johnson, congratulations. I will connect with you after the show so you and him can connect and get that session going. So I'm really excited about that. And again, Nicole, if you don't mind, if you can provide the viewers with one tip to get in their book going, what would that tip be?
Just write every single day. Literally, just pick up your pencil and you find the right time, but also you got to find the right time of day that works for you. For me, it is 4:00 in the morning. I have to get up, and that's when my brain is whirring and I want to go. Other people, it's 5:00 in the afternoon. So whatever time of day it is for you, find it and then just write. Turn on some classical music. It believe it or not, there's something that it does to your brain waves that helps you to write, and just write every single day. You can't look at it as like, oh, I'm going off to work. Like, writing is your creative expression. You should want to do it every single day. Excellent. Even if you're just writing your grocery list, write something every single day.
I love that. I love that. And it's so funny because as you were saying with your writing, yours took place at like 4 a.m, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I wrote my first book, which I had no idea it was even going to be a book, I had no idea what the hell I was writing. It was, something again that was being in tune by my mom. She literally had, every time I would drive, I would literally have to have a pen and paper with me. And she would have, the thoughts would just get like flowing down where I had to pull over and write for about 15 to 20 minutes. And this went on for about 30 days. Not every day, but 30 days where I was just writing and had no idea what the hell I was writing until I actually read one of the submissions to my astrologer. And he had mentioned to me a while back that I would be writing a book. And he said to me, he goes, oh, by the way, that's your book. And I was like, that's my book? I'm like, really? So yes, setting up time to write, I think is great. But also, if you're like me, you might want to have a pen and paper in your car or in your bag, because you just never know when spirit is going to strike you to say, write the book.
But also, if you don't, like if you're like me and you're forgetful and you're like, I don't have the pen and paper in my car, what you also have is we have these fancy devices, and they all have like voice memos on them. So there was a part in this book where I had a completely different ending. And then I was driving like you. I get a lot of info when I'm driving, and I was like, no. And I recorded this voice memo because I was like, I couldn't pull over. And so I did a voice memo, and then I played it back for myself, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
Changed everything.
Yes. So However, and whenever it shows up, always
Yes.
be prepared to do it because that's just how it's going to get done. But like Nicole says, and I definitely agree with it, is that you do need to invest every single day, whether it doesn't matter what you write. I mean, you can start with writing your grocery list, and before you know it, that grocery list all of a sudden can become the story. You might eliminate the grocery list once you start writing the book, but it may start with the grocery list, and all of a sudden your pen just takes a whole different direction because, like Nicole and myself, you might start to not be the one writing the book, and your loved one is writing it for you, and that pen just goes like, and that's just how it works. So,
Well, the good thing about starting with a grocery list, just so that people understand the mentality behind that, is like I said, you need to know what your ending is. Anytime you think you're stuck, go back to what is my ending and how does this piece fit into it. But the grocery list gets you in the habit of writing that outline, which is what you said you like doing, is like you like to have your, and especially for self-help books, what are my 10 chapters and how do they
exactly.
all fit together? That's what a grocery list is. Great.
Exactly, exactly. And for me, one of the things that really keeps me motivated, which my astrologer, who actually is my graphic designer to all of my covers, once I have the title, I reach out to him and say, I need my cover. And he says, is the book written? No, but that's how the book's going to get written because I need that motivation of knowing there's a cover to the book already. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I have a cover, now I need a story. And that's how it goes for me. Now I need the story. So with that being said, talk about stories. As I do with all my guests on my show, I love, love, love giving guidance. And more importantly, I love to have that one chakra that we can really work on to help clear things out. And today, because we do have this amazing full moon in Virgo, this is a really great day to work on our chakra system to clear something out. So would you like a reading?
I would love a reading.
Excellent. So with that being said, I'd like you just to recite your full name that's on your birth certificate out loud 3 times.
Nicole Alexander Black, Nicole Alexander Black, Nicole Alexander Black.
Okay. Did you say Nicole Alexandra Black?
Yeah.
Nice. Pretty.
Thank you.
Very pretty. All right. So let's see. Our card for today. Ooh, it's called Balance. Balance. Bringing balance. What's that?
I said, that's the name of the game.
Balance. Bringing balance into your life. And again, for our viewers, this is for Nicole's reading, but if it resonates with you as well, take it. So it's all about balance, but also when we think about the chakra, it's coming into the high heart where, again, being in that space of compassion and kindness and love, and not just for yourself, but also like pushing it out there for everybody else. Because, as healers, we do need to like spread that energy out to those, because a lot of people out there right now that's not balanced and that are not in the space of compassion because there's a lot of heaviness going on. So what I'm hearing for you, it's really like your job. It's your job to send that energy out to everybody and to help them find balance within their own mind, body, and spirit. The number 7 and 6. So 7 is really about the reflection of going within and making that connection with your spirit guides, with your loved ones as well. The 6 is about how when you do connect with the spirit guides and your loved ones, they actually do help you to heal on a much deeper level, a soul level. And when we think about 7 and 6, we have a 13, which brings us into a 4. So this 4 is really about how this book, the one you just wrote, how this book is going to help you build a new foundation. It's not just a book. This is the book that's going to take you to another level. And as you said before, when you wrote your first book, you kept hearing people say how, the book is going to be a bestseller, et cetera, et cetera. But you weren't feeling the energy for that book. This is the book. This is the book that's going to bring that new foundation for you. Take you to a whole different level, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally as well. How does this resonate with you?
Like you're spot on. 100%.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So with that being said, again, this is our last segment together. Let our viewers know how they can reach you.
You can email me, Nicole@NicoleBlack.com, or go to my website, www.NicoleBlack.com. And Joanne, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you for being here and sharing your amazing book and sharing all that you do, and continue doing all that you do, and looking forward to reconnecting. Thanks. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we do, I'll be back.
Hi guys, I'm Kendrick Cortez Greer, personal astrologer and astrological counselor here in Brooklyn, New York. I've been an astrologer for over 23 years now, providing astrological readings, counseling sessions, workshops, and corporate events all throughout the tri-state area. I've been very blessed and lucky to have clients all throughout the United States and beyond. If you're interested in a reading that is warm, heartfelt, honest, and conducive to speaking to one of your best friends, please contact me at 917-863-7528. You can also email me at kendrickstar@gmail.com. That's Kendrick, STAR, @gmail.com. And for you Insta people, find me on Instagram at Kendrick Cortez Astrology. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Toodles.
Hey everybody, Rob the Warrior Strategist coming at you from San Diego, California. And if you want help developing your own income streams and entrepreneurial systems, feel free to reach out to me at dragonsgold76@gmail.com. Thanks.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. And if you are just tuning in, you still have an opportunity to take advantage of our raffle winning for this week. All you need to do is share, like, and comment. But you're going to definitely have to go back and watch on the replay, whether you watch here or you check us out on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, or YouTube. And when you do, then come back here and comment. And as you do all of that, you will get your name in the bucket and have an opportunity to winning this week's raffle that Nicole Black is giving away. And it sounds like an amazing gift. It's a beautiful candle with some crystals that go with it. So I'm really excited to share that for next week. As again, our raffle winner from this week, which we've already announced, but I'm just going to re-say it. We have Patricia Johnson, who's our raffle winner. I'm really excited for her, and I'm going to reach out to her shortly. So now, we already know that you saw last week's show, you saw today's show. So for those of you who might want to know who's next week's guest is, one of my favorite guests. I've have him out on my show often, Nick Rafter. He is our journalist, writer, and editor. He's going to be here next Sunday. So remember to set your alarm clock, save the date, bring your friends, because you don't want to miss his conversation, because anytime him and I get together, we do talk. A Gemini with an Aquarius. Whoa, that's a lot of conversation going on. Anyway, I'd also like to remind you, or invite you for that matter, not so much about reminding you, I am currently offering my 5-week body and soul transformation prescription as a program now, where it's ladies, weights are your friend. So it's time to start lifting weights, ladies, because those weights are going to help you lift the booty and lift the buns. Lift the booty and the buns. I'm the same thing. Lift the booty and the bust is what I meant to say. The B&B. It's really important to get into the weights. Okay, so you might want to decrease the cardio time and increase the strength training time. So for more information about that, all you need to do is email healingwithin76@gmail.com, because for right now, I'm offering that to only 6 people. So with all that being said, I hope that you enjoyed today's show. I hope you got a lot out of it. And those of you who are looking to get that book going, write the book. And one last announcement for all of you who are interested in sharing your story, shining your light, and inspire others. I am currently accepting guest applications, and also advertising sponsorship spots are available. Email healingwithin76@gmail.com. That's all I got for you today, guys. Enjoy this amazing full moon in Virgo. I'll see you all back here next week. Bye-bye.
All right, we're in the outro.